So let's talk about DevOps. So actually, what exactly is DevOps? So actually, if we take some other tools or softwares, for example, if we take Linux or some other thing, so we will have Linux admin, and they will be specifically working on Linux. But the thing with the DevOps is actually it is not a tool; it is a process. Uh, it is a process where we will be getting involved along with the development team and operations team, and we'll be working together with them. Let me share this. Okay, so if you see, so normally if we consider a organization, so actually we will have a team uh, where we will have software developers and we will have testers and then we will have operation guys who manage the servers. So in case if you are working in an organization, what is the basic requirement? Actually, the client will have a requirement. For example, he needs a software to be developed. So actually, they will plan and then they will develop the code and then they will test and then they will deploy it in the production. So this process has to be known by the DevOps guys so that they can do the tasks efficiently. So if you see, actually, let's consider scenario here. So normally how organizations work. So for example, we need a software. Okay. So let's consider Amazon. So this will have, sorry, someone is joining once again. Once again, guys. People have to join. Okay. So in case if you take a application like Amazon, so actually it will have different components. Um, it will have a cart. It will have payment section. Hey guys, just now we started. Please try to join on time so that others won't be waiting for us. So I was just explaining what exactly is DevOps. So okay, let me continue. You guys can go through the recording. I will share it later. You guys, can we wait for a couple of minutes? People are joining. Okay, so let's consider an organization. So the main thing is actually every organization should have clients. So the clients will have few requirements. So now they have to develop an application called Amazon. So the Amazon application will have multiple things, like we will have cart and then we will have an option for payment and then it will have an inventory and then in case if they have to make in payment itself we will have different options like we will have cards, we will have UPIs. Okay, so it is a single application, but we see different components within the application. So for example, if we take this inventory, it will be visible on our screen. Uh, let's take, So this is the front end interface. So this every inventory it will be visible in the front end. So we will have a front end developer developing this one. Whereas payment will involve different components. For example, payment actually we will have a DB involved, and then we should have backend code, because when we do the payment, that payment details it will be saved in a DB. Because if you go to Amazon, even you can see the details which like any transactions or any orders which you placed like 2 years back or 5 years back, still you will be able to visible. So the data will be stored here. So to the data to be stored here, actually we need to write a code that is done by backend developer. So if we take this one, so initially initially we will have a client who will plan the requirement. Then we have the dev team who develop the code. So the development will not happen in single language, because for front end they will be needing Angular, CSS, and other tools. Whereas backend it will be like Java, Python, or Node.js. So they will use different code. So single developer will not be knowing both. So we will have a separate team for front end, we will have a separate team for back end. So once they develop, then actually they will pass it to the testing team, because once the code is ready and they have packaged it in zip, or they have converted it to some Docker images, it has to be tested before it goes to the production, because once it goes to production, then it will cause issues to the end users. So the testing team will test this created code. So they will do different types of test, functionality test, and then unit tests, and then they will do the performance test, and they will perform all the tests. So once the testing is done and if everything is fine, then actually it will go to the operations team. So operations team they will be like um, and then it will go to the operations team. So operations teams they will deploy it in the end environment. Like we will have different environments, like dev environment, test environment, pre-prod, and prod. Okay. So how this flow used to happen before? So actually we have two methods. So actually before they used to follow waterfall method. Now people are using agile methodology. So what happens in waterfall method? So as I told, initially the client will give the plan. Okay. What he needs an Amazon app to be developed for his application. Okay. So the planning will happen for like 1 month. So what exactly they will plan? So they will plan what and all features it has to be there, like payment, cart, inventory. So client needs these things. So once they plan, actually they will be planning infra as well, like what exactly the uh, infra should be like how big their application and how much infra is required, how much infra is required, they will plan. So once the planning is done, it will be passed to the development team. So in this method, what happens? The development team they will start writing code for each thing. So here we will have developer 1, developer 2, developer 3. So they will be writing code. For few will be writing for payment, few will be writing for cart, few will be writing for the inventory. So this process, it will take like 2 or 3 months. So once the development is done, then they will pass this thing to testing team. So they will have all the code, and then it will be passed to testing team. So the testing team will actually, we have two types of testing. One is manual and another is automation. So they will be checking all the features, everything which has been created by development team. So they have took like 2 to 3 months for development. While they are developing for 3 months, and while they are planning for 1 month, like almost like 3 to 4 months, testing team is idle. Like they don't have any other work. Like 4 months, they are idle. It is a big loss for the company because they are not doing any work, but they have to be paid, right? So they are paid, and it is a huge loss, finance loss for company as well. And if we have to fire them, it is not possible because without them, they will not be able to test the product. That is the scenario. So once the testing team is done with their tests, they will find few bugs. If there are any bugs, they will find the bugs. So once the bugs are found, again it will go to dev team. They will raise all the Jira issues, and they will assign it to dev team. So again dev team will fix all the issues, and then it depends like how critical the issue is. So once the dev team fixes the issue, they will come back. Let's consider it as 15 days. So again, this new code which has been developed in 15 days, again it will be tested by testing team. So this will become like a loop. This will become like a loop, and it will consume lots of time. So in the meanwhile, they will be spending like 6 to 7 months. So finally, the code is ready, and they have tested, and everything is fine. Now what happens once the code is ready? What is the final thing? The application which is ready, app ready. So the application is ready. But if end users like us, if we have to use this Amazon application, it has to be running on few servers. Okay, guys, and one more thing, like in DevOps, like 99% of the times we will be using Linux servers. So let's consider they have few infra like server 1, server 2, server 3, server 4, server 5, and server 6. And before putting it into the production is that which is visible to us. They will have few more environments like test environment, and then pre-prod. So once the code is ready, they will first push it into the test environment because they can't directly push it into the production. If we push into production, then there will be like critical issues, and then it will make a mess out of everything. So they will test. So test it in the test environment. Once they deploy the new application, uh, so once they deploy the new application, actually, like they will be testing it in the test environment. If they find any issues, like for example, if this Amazon application requires Java. Okay, let's this for an example. This environment has like Java 11, but actual the new app which they have created, it requires Java 18. Okay, so if this Java 18 is missing, then they will not be able to deploy it in the test environment. Even though if they deploy, what happens if they deploy also, like they may face few issues. like it will not be running properly, or it may crash, or something might happen. So again the scenario comes back to the beginning. Again these guys, they will reach out to dev team. So again the development team, they will check like what is the exact issue, and if they tell like it is working in my machine, it is just not working in your machine, like they will be um, like again coming back to the infra team. In case if they really find an issue, then again they will be fixing the issue, and again the testing team has to test, and then again it has to come to infra. If it is just like it has some dependency issue, then they will tell to install these dependencies, and they will install it in the test environment. Once this testing everything is successful, then they will push it into the prod environment. So they will be during all this time, like when also there will be scenarios like infra team has these 6 servers, but this application need like 12 servers. Again they have to set up new infra, like they have to expand it, they have to purchase the hardware. So again it will consume like 2 to 3 months. So so meanwhile the client has like a new requirement. So initially he told like he need payment, cart and inventory. And now we need some new option. Like you want to add some voice assistance for this one. In case if you have to add some voice assistance, then they can't proceed, because already to complete this work it took almost like 1 year for a development team to develop, and testing team to test, and then the infra team to deploy. So the main disadvantage is that once the client decides on futures, it cannot be changed in between, because in case if they try to change, then the entire model will collapse, like it will take another 1 year. So So nowadays, people are not using this waterfall method because of these disadvantages. So what is the method which they can follow to fix this issue? So currently, they are following agile methodology. So what happens in agile methodology? Client, he will provide the plan, like what exactly is required. Initially, he requires Amazon app to be created with cart, payment, and inventory. Okay, so once this is done, then it will be passed to dev team. So here what happens, in the waterfall method it took like almost 1 year to complete the project, but here the project sprints are like just 3 weeks, or sometimes 2 weeks as well. So what happens? They will plan like they need Amazon application with these features. Okay, dev team will start working. Once the plan is over, in the first week itself, dev team will start working on these features. So they will create these applications, and then once that is done, in the second week, it will be passed to the testing team. And then what this dev team does, anyway, these testing guys, they are going to find few bugs. Okay, then they will be thinking like, why not we test from our end itself? So they create some unit tests, like basic functionalities can be tested using these unit tests. So dev team will test these functionalities. They will test it in the dev environment. So developers will use this environment. It is called dev environment. So once this is done, they will pass the code to testing team. Okay. So the testing team will use automation. Like they have few tools like Selenium, Cucumber, or else they will write their own test cases. They will write their own test cases, and they will try to find any bugs in the front end and in back end, everything. So once this is done, then it will go into test uh, environment, pre-prod, and prod. Okay, so in case if some issue happens, again it is like easy to get involved with dev team in this process. So how it is becoming easy and where the DevOps is involved. So before what used to happen, we will have dev team, testing team, and we will have the infra team. There is no DevOps team. So what is the um, work for DevOps guys? So DevOps guys will work as a mediator. Okay. So DevOps guys will work as a mediator. They will be dev plus ops, development plus operations. So these guys will have knowledge of dev, means they know like what exactly the developers are doing. Like they don't need to write any code, but they have to know like what exactly they are doing. And these guys will also know what operations team is trying to do. And they will act as an intermediator between this dev and ops team so that they can enhance the performance of this flow. So this agile methodology is there. So here, like we will be using different tools for. So I'm telling like we'll be completing it in 3 weeks, right? In waterfall method, I told it will take 1 year. A task which is taking 1 year for them to complete, like we are planning to complete it in 3 weeks. How? Because initial planning. So the planning is done using a tool called Jira. So they will create tickets, Jira tickets for each task. For we will have a separate ticket for cart. We will have a separate ticket for payment. We will have a separate ticket based on the features. We will have a number of this. So the first tool which we will be seeing is Jira, and then we have dev team. Okay, so we have developer one, and then we have developer two, and then we have developer three. So they all work for the same application, okay, Amazon. But he works for payment, he works for some inventory, and this guy works for some other thing. So he is developing in his own laptop, okay. He has his laptop and he will be working on that. He has his laptop and he will be working on that. But if we mix both the codes, then only the Amazon application will be created, right? So this code has to be managed centrally somewhere. Uh, that then at this place we use Git. Okay. So initially they plan and they create different tickets for each feature, and then once the Jira ticket is created, it will be assigned. For example, if we are using cart ticket will be assigned to dev one, developer one, and payment ticket will be created to dev two, and they will work. So once they develop the code, it has to be in one place, right? So they centrally manage it in Git. So once this is done, these developers they will do few tests. Okay, before going into testing team, they will do few tests. So comes the next step. So we can use Sonar Cube for testing. So it will do the basic testing. Once this is done, we have to build the package. We have to build the package. Why we have to build? For example, one guy writes a file like test.py, and then it will have few dependencies like he may have some shell scripts to run few tasks, and then again he may have a Python script which may have dependencies. So all these things should be combined together, then only the application will run. So actually we have to build it. So we have different build tools. Okay. So um, we build using those build tools. Once this is done, we will be pushing it to one place. We have to save it in some place, right? So we will be building it, we will be saving it in that place. So we will be using JFrog. So once this is done, then we will be pushing it into Kubernetes. So if you want to push it to Kubernetes, we need Docker. Guys, nothing to worry. Just I am explaining the tools, Docker. And once this is done in the, once it is deployed, we have to monitor. We will use Grafana, Prometheus, and then we have different tools. Um, and DevOps doesn't have a single tool. Okay. For example, for planning, I'm telling Jira. So we have different tools for this as well. Like you can use Mural or different things based on what your company uses. And for this code, you can use Git, you can use Bitbucket, or else you can use, if you are using AWS, we can use AWS code commit. And then for testing, we have SonarQube, Jakaku, and then different types of tools. And for building, it depends on which programming language we use. Like in case if we have Java, we will be using Maven. And then in case if we have Node.js, we will be using npm. Similarly, for storing the packages, we use JFrog. And then we have these Kubernetes and Dockers, which we use for production deployment. So this Jira, when we explained, actually it is like client requirement. And then Git used by dev team. SonarQube used by dev team. And then build. Build is done by dev team. And then they will push it in the JFrog using dev. It will be pushed to JFrog from dev. And Kubernetes and Docker, it will be managed by ops team. Okay. So what is the thing for DevOps guys? Because these things are done by dev team and these things are done by operations team. What exactly the DevOps team do? We come to the picture here. We automate. We automate the entire process so that in case if a developer develops the code, immediately it will be tested and it will be immediately sending a feedback to dev. In case if it is having some issues, it will inform the dev team, or else in case if it is like success, it has passed, then it will be going into test or prod environment, like based on how we defined the infra. So this is what actually DevOps team do. Let's okay. If you see these diagrams now, it will be clear for you. Okay. So in IT industry, we will have like different roles. One is software development. The software development guys, they will develop the software. Here we have taken the Amazon application, right? So the developers, they will develop the code. So in different languages they will develop, like Java, Python, JavaScript. And in case of any new functionalities, and even if a testing team creates some bug tickets, then those bug fixes will be done by software development. And then we have another team, software testing. So the testing team does all the features checks, and then it will be done using manual and automated testings. And then this operation guys, and the operation guys, what they do, they build the application and they deploy it on the servers. And in case if we have like a Java 11 and if they have to upgrade to Java 18, then they do the upgrade. And then development guys, they develop new features and they create a release. And the operation team guy, he will mainly focus on the stability of the server. What is his main focus? Like in case if the Amazon application is running in the production, it shouldn't crash. It shouldn't crash. That is his main priority. Deploying the application is not his priority. Deploying new version is a priority for development team, but maintaining the stability is the priority for operation team guys. This is where the collision happens between development and operations, because he wants to maintain the stability of the application, otherwise he will lose job. He has to create new softwares as per schedule, otherwise he will lose his job. Because of that, actually conflicts happen. So development team, they will be working on different programming languages, like dev one will be working on Java, another guy on Python, and then they will be working on few test frameworks, because before sending it to testing team they will write their own test frameworks to test the code. And then as I told earlier, in case if you have to save some data like user credit card details or else inventory details, then they have to use databases. So this will be taken care by backend developer. And then version control, I was saying about Git, right? So Git takes care of the version control. And what this operation guy does, so you will be managing the operating systems, mostly Linux. DevOps mostly will be on Linux. And then you will be managing the command line interfaces. And you will be writing few scripts to automate some regular tasks. And you will be using few monitoring tools, because the servers will be running. The servers are running, but it will be not like one or two servers. We will have servers like 300 servers, 500 servers. You can't log into each server and check every time, right? So you will be using the monitoring tools. So you will be receiving alerts whenever there is some issue or one of the servers goes down. Then you will get an alert, and based on that, you will take the action. So normally, why there is conflict between dev and ops team? Because of miscommunication and conflict of interest. Dev focuses on releasing new feature, and ops want to maintain the stability. And because of this, mainly there will be conflict. So what is the solution for that one? DevOps culture. Implementing the DevOps culture is the solution for that. So DevOps guys will be like a intermediator between Dev and Ops both. So they will have knowledge on both, and based on that, they will be working. So initially we will have an idea. See, the idea is from client to create an application. Then they will implement, and one implement means the development will happen, and they will test it in the testing team. Once the testing team approves, it will be built, and then once it is built, it will be deployed. Where it will be deployed? It will be deployed in the prod, test, and different environments. Once deployed, we can't leave it like that. Like if some Amazon Big Billion Day sale is coming, and then immediately they have to switch from normal Amazon site to the Big Billion Day site. So if they just switch and if they leave, like because of high traffic and in case if there is some bugs, it will crash. If you remember initially, like the first time when these Big Billion Days were launched in Amazon and Flipkart, the first time Flipkart servers got crashed. Why? Because they changed the server, they didn't monitor the applications properly, and they didn't manage the availability properly. Because of that, it crashed. So what we have to do, we have to observe that once we deployed the application, we have to observe like is there any bugs or is there any issues in it. This monitoring is also an important task for DevOps team. So we have this planning and collaboration. As I told earlier, um, see, initially the once the client is ready, you will create the tickets based on the plan. Okay, so the planning here we are talking about the different tools which we use. For planning, we are using Jira. And collaboration. What is collaboration? Like we will be talking with the like development team, and we will be talking with testing team. We will be talking with the operations team, right? So in organizations, we normally use Teams, It is just like a communication tool, like a WhatsApp. But in organizations, they don't use these WhatsApps and all, right? So they will use the tools like Teams or else Slack and or Jabber or something else, whichever it is. Like depends on the organization. And then source code management. Once the developers develop the code, they will use the source code management to as a centralized management place, because different developers they will be pushing the code and they will be saving it here. And then package management. Package management is once the code is ready, we will be building it, okay, using this package management. Once this is done, actually we will be pushing it into so we can automate this entire process using this CI/CD. So for CI/CD, for CI/CD means it is continuous integration and continuous deployment. Like this entire automation, like planning to source code management to packaging and then testing and then pushing it into the orchestration and pushing it in the cloud and then creating this monitoring tool. Everything can be automated using this CI/CD flow. So here we use Jenkins for CI process, and for CD also we can use Jenkins, but we have other efficient tools like Argo CD and other tools. We can see that later. So we can use those things. So previously developers used to do these DevOps tasks, and then we had operations team doing these tasks. But as of now we have separated DevOps team evolved. In DevOps also we have like different teams. Currently we have SRE team, and then a few DevOps tools have been emerged. Like now, as you know, like AI and ML is also like emerging, right? So we have options like AI ops, ML ops as well. Even those roles are available. So development and operations combined together, they form DevOps. So once the code is committed by dev, it is tested, it is built, it is pushed, and then it is deployed in the production. So this is the high level overview.